Well, I hope you're enjoying this series of messages on what God can do with little. You might think you've only got a little to offer. Great, no problem. Give it to God. Like the feeding of the 5,000, He can multiply it and do something extraordinary. Did you hear that? Something extraordinary with the little that you feel you have got to offer. God can take your small prayers and do great things. Mark 11 verse 24, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it and it shall be yours. It's an amazing thing to realize that God actually does hear our prayers and probably answers more of them than we realize. Incredible things can sometimes come from very, very simple little prayers. You have little kids pray a prayer and something amazing happens. I think we need to be a lot more bold in our prayers, even though they might be little prayers. They may feel weak, but at times with God they can accomplish so much. George Mueller is a great example of this. Best known for as the founder of a great orphanage in Bristol. And he wrote these words in his diary. He said, during my lifetime, I've had 25,000 prayers answered and 5,000 on the day I made the petition. He kept a prayer book in which he recorded prayers on one side and answers on the other side. The Word of God challenges us in Mark 16. It says to lay hands on sick people and they would recover. It's amazing, eh? Something as simple as lay hands on someone, pray for their sickness, and then every so often they actually get healed. It's amazing, isn't it? It's just doing almost such a little thing, but God can use it and do an amazing thing. Sometimes you pray for a job and you get one. It's a little prayer, the big answer. Or you pray for finances, they come in. Pray for encouragement, it happens. So often, it's a small prayer that God answers. Thomas Bernardo sometimes answers big prayers too, was a founder of orphanages. One time in Canada, the orphanage was in debt $50,000. So he took the matter to the Lord in prayer. I don't know how long he prayed or anything, but the Lord answered in an extraordinary way. He met a man by chance, and the man who had no knowledge of his debt handed him a check for exactly the sum he was needing, $50,000. Thomas Bernardo testified that he prayed for and received a total of $15 million, and this is many years ago, for his work during his lifetime. What God can do with prayer. What God can do with prayer. This one produced $15 million. What God can do with what you think are your little prayers. Hudson Taylor, the founder of the China Inland Mission, was led by God to ask for 100 new missionaries, together with the funds to support them, all within 1 year. That was on 1887. On December the 29th, he wrote in his diary, last 2 of 100 missionaries sail for China. That simple prayer produced 100 missionaries plus full support, and it all happened in just 1 year. Let's not underestimate the effectiveness of what we might think are weak prayers or little prayers or meaningless prayers. Just pray. Just pray and ask God and what God can do. You know, our little giving can accomplish so much. One area of the Bible is very clear that little can become much in the area of giving financially. The Bible says, give and it shall be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. God always gives back far more than what we initially give. It's absolutely true with finances. Placed into the hands of God can produce incredible fruit, some of which we'll only know on the other side when we get to eternity. What that small amount of giving, or whatever it was, how God was able to use it for the extension and the expansion of his kingdom and for the blessing of so many people. A little giving can achieve so much. A little praying can see incredible results. What God can do with little when it's placed into his hands.